What's good? What's good? I'm back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. Today I'm gonna get into game one in the NBA finals, and then I'm gonna do something a little different. Normally when I do the NBA reacts, I don't play no videos, but I'm gonna react to a video as well regarding what Adam Silver's announcement about Ja Rule's suspension and when it will, or his punishment or suspension, or whenever it will be released. But let's get into game one. Denver dominated the game. I mean, Miami was not really into this game at all. I mean, when you go over the box score, four people from Miami scored from double figures. This is what's crazy. This cat, Haywood Highsmith, came in and scored 18 points in 23 minutes. I haven't heard of him or seen him play really all year long. Kyle Lowry gave you 11, 19 from Gabe Vincent, um, 13 from Jimmy Butler, and 26 from Bam Adebayo. That's not going to be enough. That's just not going to be enough. Max Struess was 0 for 10 and 0 for 9. I just saw a post too recently saying that I think the Celtics or somebody could have had Max Struess, but they let him go, and they was like, yeah, they let this great player go. Oh yeah, he's very great last game, 0 for 10. And Haywood Highsmith giving you 18. That's more like he probably won't even get 23 minutes next game. They definitely gonna have to do something different. All right, let's get into Denver. I mean, Denver was once again more well balanced. You got 14 and 13 rebounds from Michael Porter Jr. with two blocks as well. 16 from Aaron Gordon. Jokic, who didn't even really score, he didn't take a shot to the second quarter. Didn't really score to maybe the third, if I'm not mistaken. He literally just was passing the whole first 2, 3 quarters. Ended up with a game high 27, 14 assists, 10 rebounds, one steal, one block on two turnovers. I hate to say this. I was telling my homeboy this. Chris Paul's got to give up his name. Chris Paul's got to give up his name. Right now in the NBA, Jokic is the point god. He's the point god. You got 7 from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 26 and 10 assists from Jamal Murray, and 10 from Bruce Brown. All right, this is significant. The top two players for Denver both gave you 26 or more, and both gave you 10 assists. There's only been there's only been one duo to do it in like a finals game one, and that was Magic Johnson and Big Game James Worthy from the North Carolina Tar Heels. And I think Jordan and Pippen did it in a series, but like there's not been a there's only been like 2 or 3 duos that have scored 25 points and 10 assists in the NBA finals. And Jamal Murray, I mean, Jamal Murray and Jokic are the best duo in the league right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because part of being the best duo isn't just being the most talented on paper or the two best individual scorers, which Durant and Booker seem like more of individual scorers. And maybe, I will say this Durant and Booker didn't have a lot of time to figure out how they're going to work off each other and things of that nature. Jokic and Jamal Murray been playing together for a while. They both got drafted there. And this is the thing, like Denver has literally built their team just like the Warriors. Draft Jamal Murray, draft Jokic, draft Porter Jr., trade for Aaron Gordon, trade for Kentavious Caldwell Pope, trade for Bruce Brown, draft a Christian Braun, sign a Jeff Green. Your 3 core players you typically want to draft. And when I mean three core players, you're three top scorers typically, unless it's well, Draymond isn't one of the three top scorers, but when Draymond first came in the league, he was actually putting up some decent numbers, and now he's more of a point forward and whatnot. He's like a smaller version of what Jokic does, really, when you think about it. Draymond is, except he can't score like Jokic. He can't shoot like Jokic. Miami, I don't know what they could do. They got Nikola Jovic, and he's 6'10", but he's a rookie, so you can't put him in. Um, Cody Zeller. I mean, they might have to play more Cody Zeller. Kevin Love didn't play, which I'm confused with that. Why Kevin Love did not play? And damn, if Cody Zeller is younger than me and already bald as a motherfucker, he's only been in the league 9 years. I'm 44 years old, man, and my hairline is better than Cody Zeller's. Of course, I do got that. Guess you could say that Dracula hairline, like that vampire hairline. I don't know what Miami's gonna be able to do besides Jimmy Butler just playing out of his mind and Max Strus playing a hell of a lot better. I don't know what they're gonna be able to do. And Duncan Robinson hitting his shots. Bam Adebayo is 6'9". I thought he was about 6'8", 6'9". And he's got a guard Jokic, who is 6'11". You might as well say 7 feet, you know. And Jokic is a big body. I mean, you can't speed Jokic up. You can't speed him up. And I was telling my friend the other day, I don't know if Jokic isn't the most dominant player I've ever seen, but if this makes any sense, he's the player that I've seen um, have more control over the game. I've never seen anybody have more control over the game than Jokic. Not even Michael Jordan, man, or LeBron. Like, yeah, LeBron, like, literally controlled the game a lot of years when he was going to those finals. But he literally had to bring the ball up every single time. He literally had to facilitate every part of the offense to him through him. He wasn't working off of nobody the way Jokic and Jamal work off of each other. Like him and Kyrie, I mean, they had a two-man game, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this. Jokic, and that's the thing. Jokic is like LeBron, and in the sense that he's looking to pass first. He's looking to pass first and can score whenever he pretty much wants. And he could rebound better than LeBron. And he could probably, to be honest with you, as great as a passer is, I've seen Jokic make some passes that I don't know if LeBron could have made. Like the one he made last game, he was right by the free throw line. He was gonna spin back this way, but a defender came, so he changed his foot and came back this way under, turned around and jumped up and passed the ball two-handed to a guy over here, like in the wing by the three, and he literally saw the whole thing. He saw everything before it happened. It's like he's only been in the league 7 years. Jordan, LeBron, Curry, they were 9 years in the league before they won their championship. You know, so these cats now are actually did it earlier. Jokic, if he wins, did it earlier by a couple years. These cats are starting to figure it out at least a couple years earlier. And I mean, and think about it. Giannis is already took a team from a small market to a championship and won. Denver is a big city, but it's a small market. It's boring. That's what makes it small. It's boring. I would argue that Charlotte is more of an exciting market than Denver. And that's why LaMelo Ball's jerseys sell more than Jokic. And they're actually, LaMelo Ball is right above Jokic. But Jokic's jersey sales are going to go up if he wins this championship. And so will Jimmy Butler's. And somebody that had a thing of like, what would this, if Jimmy Butler wins and Jokic loses, does it mean more that Jokic lost or more that Jimmy Butler won? And I'm going to say it's going to be more if Jimmy Butler wins. If Jimmy Butler wins, he will carry the least talented team I've ever seen in my lifetime to the NBA Finals and won. Every time I've seen a player carry the least talented team to the finals, they get swept or gentleman sweep. LeBron did it. He carried the Cavs to the finals that one year with like a bunch of just average role players, and he got swept by the Spurs, who he's played 3 times in the finals, might I add, and they beat him twice. He's only won 1 out of 3 against the Spurs. Allen Iverson took that Sixers team to the finals, and they were literally one of the worst teams ever that he carried to the finals. He won the first game with the step over on Tyronn Lue. I mean, balled the hell out, 40-something points. Amazing performance, but got a gentleman sweep. Lakers won 4 straight after that. He didn't have it. There was no way Allen Iverson was going to beat Shaq and Kobe. Little Allen Iverson, nah. But Allen Iverson is still one of the greatest little guys to grace the floor because he literally carried a team of nothing but defensive guys. He carried a team of nothing but defense to the NBA Finals. Nobody on that team could get their own shot except Allen Iverson. And he had an exceptional coach in Larry Brown, former Tar Heel. I want to get into this video. Before I do, though, I want to give you a word. I normally don't play sponsored ads on the sports part, but I'm going to give you a little word from Dizzle.
That slap. It is that one. That everybody talking about Dizzle new drink. They like that's that turn. That lit. That slap. It is that one. That everybody talking about Dizzle new drink. They like
you can Dizzle too. Dizzle is a premium luxury liqueur mixed with agave, tequila, cognac, and orange liquor mango mix. Just throw your Dizzle on ice, and it's nice. If you want to order your very own bottle or bottles of Dizzle premium luxury liqueur, go to dizzlebrand.com, click on our locations, click on one of the top 3 website links. I recommend Emilio's Beverage. It's the cheaper link. Below that is actual locations in California, Oklahoma, Kansas, and our number 1 selling state for Dizzle right now, Arkansas as well, Little Rock. Stand up. Also, we got the Dizzle brand merch. Go to merchandise store on dizzlebrand.com, or you can go to etsy.com. That's ETSY.com and search for Dizzle brand, or etsy.com/shop/Dizzle brand. That's etsy.com/shop/Dizzle brand. All right, let's get into it. This is talking about Ja Rule. Oh, my bad. Ja Morant.
NBA
I keep calling him Ja Rule. Ja Rule
met with
Morant.
reporters and indicated that he has reached a decision regarding a possible suspension for Ja Morant. Now, the Grizzlies suspended Morant on May 14th after a video on social media circulated showing the All-Star holding a firearm. The NBA suspended Morant for 8 games after a similar incident in March. Here's Silver last night.
We've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. I think since I was still asked about the situation, I would say we probably could have brought it to a head now, but we made the decision, and I believe the Players Association agrees with us, that it would be unfair to these players and these teams in the middle of this series to announce the results of that investigation. And my sense now is that shortly after the conclusion of the finals, we will announce the outcome of that investigation.
Now, Silver was...
Before he finishes, the fact that you announced that and you basically acted like you didn't want to announce it because you didn't want the attention to be on Ja Rule Morant's suspension. Well, you brought attention to it now, because what are we doing? We're reacting to it. You probably should have waited. And the fact that you said we have more fair evidence, it's more likely not good evidence. In order for you to say that we have more evidence, there's no reason for you to say that if the evidence is good. So it seems like more bad evidence. When he says fair evidence, meaning like this, it's probably from a fair source, a non-biased source. You just announcing this is definitely already got people assuming, because some people are assuming 25, 35 days, half a season. Some people are saying full season. Let's get into it, though.
Was asked if Morant's 8-game suspension in March was too light in hindsight. Silver said that Morant came across as, quote, heartfelt and serious. Here, back at the roundtable, let's also bring in Brian Windhorst. Windy, when you heard what Adam Silver said yesterday, what was your reaction?
I've never heard anything like it. It was very unusual for him to basically say, I know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to announce it now. And the second part is that he brought up that he's working alongside the Players Association in this. He's obviously bringing them along side by side. Trust me, typically the Players Association isn't there, as the discipline is being decided on and doled out. So this is a situation that is wide ranging. And quite frankly, the indication here is that this is going to be a significant suspension. This is not the tone and the tenor, and the fact that the Players Association is involved does not indicate this is going to be something similar to what we've seen before. And I also think that Adam Silver is expecting for there to be a lot of reaction to what he does. He doesn't want it to be a storyline during the finals. So take all of that under advisement as you consider what's headed for Ja Morant.
Now, what's your expectation here on the length of suspension, Alan, after hearing the commissioner and also what Wendy just said?
Yeah, when you consider the fact that he said we don't want to be a distraction.
This is where it's about to get interesting. And I somewhat kind of agree with what this guy's about to say.
Distraction during the finals. It'll be right after the finals are over and probably right before the NBA draft. You don't want it also to overshadow the draft. So my feeling is just like Wendy's is I would think it's significant if I were to guess, like if I'll put myself in his shoes, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I mean, 2 months after I talked to you, sat down with you, you go ahead and act up again. I would give him a year. I would give him a year to send a message, not just to him, but to the entire league that we take this extremely seriously. And if you're going to do that, you also want to have ahead of the game the Players Association involved in knowing this is what we're thinking. And why I say a year is because if you gave them whatever it is, the first 20 games, the first 41 games, he comes back, he's still a conquering hero. Now the Grizzlies, we're getting Ja back, and now we can make a playoff run. And it's almost like rewarding him. It's giving him a half a season off. And I don't think that's really the message you want to send here. It's significant. He's about to start a near $200 million contract extension that he just signed that could also, if he gets all NBA, jack up even higher. I just feel like, excuse me, if you want to send a message, the message would be a full season.
And that means also the postseason in your mind, right?
Yes, of course.
A full year. Monica, your thoughts on this?
You know what? Before Monica McNutt goes in, I don't know, like, I don't know where I'm at on, like, the length. But I do agree with, you don't need to make it a situation where you're rewarding this guy for bad behavior. Because, whether, I know they'll keep bringing out what she's going to bring about, whether it's legal or not legal. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter in the business world. When somebody has a certain standard of what they want their image to be, as soon as anybody feels like you are tarnishing their image, you are in violation of that contract. That's why there's things called moral clauses and things of that nature.
It's the idea of a length here, the idea of, what the commissioner is saying and laying everything out.
I think a year is too harsh. I think I'm somewhere in that 20 to 35 range. While the NBA is a private corporation with governing laws, and I'm not personally familiar with the code of conduct, as in I've read it as of late, I do lean on this is not an illegal issue.
Okay, you know what, though? This is why I got a problem. She once again, she wants to lean on this is not a legal issue. Who cares? This is a billion-dollar worldwide business that kids look up to. A lot of kids look up to. This she says, "Oh, haven't read the code of conduct." Well, it should be common knowledge that flashing guns on social media totally goes against the code of conduct, Monica McNutt.
And so yes, I think a year is too harsh. I think to make it so that he could not compete, I understand your logic, Han, and I can appreciate it, but to make it so.
Is he still going to make a shit ton of money while he's out? See, this is what I got a problem with this. Like, she acts like he's going to be the brokest motherfucker on the planet and not still make millions of dollars while he's not able to compete. You know, the idea that there's something really wrong with that. There's something really harsh in the fact that you're going to make millions of dollars and not have to fucking compete for it. Let's keep it moving. What a bunch of bullshit.
That he wouldn't compete is to ignore what we do in every sport, in that talent covers a multitude of errors. So you punish him, but I don't think you necessarily have to shut him down for the entire year.
Well, I think, one thing you have to keep in mind here is, right, the legality part of it is aside. I mean, this is more, you're bad for business. That's my message. Again, if I'm Adam Silver, we already had.
Ding, 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 ding. You're bad for business. Because guess what? Oh, there's parents that might be like, you know what? I don't want to take my kid to no Memphis Grizzlies games to watch Morant. And yeah, some of them might be racist about it. But still, there's a lot of parents that are not racist that don't want their kids looking up to people that are playing with guns like Legos. That's the whole problem y'all have with this. The dude is playing with guns like they Legos, man. Legos. I got a 12 gauge behind my couch. That joker doesn't, it stays behind the couch. It collects dust because I don't play with it. It's not a toy. It's not something to play with and just flash on social media. I've not took one single picture with my shotgun on social media whatsoever. It's for one reason and one reason only. If somebody decides to come and harm me in my apartment, that's what guns are supposed to be for. Self-defense. Not to play with like the G.I. Joes and He-Mans and Legos. Yes. Ding, 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 ding. This is bad for any corporate billion-dollar business unless you sell guns.
Sit down. We already talked about it. I already explained to you why this is serious for us, for the brand, for, as they say in the NFL, the shield. But for Ja, you got to look at it as you're right now. You're bad for business. You need to go away for a little bit and come back, understanding that when you come back, it's a full, that's now in my past. Look at Nike right now and what they're doing. They're also being very hesitant with him as well.
You don't want to be bad for business. The new colorways of that shoe are coming.
But they did pull
not
it
easy to
on
find.
the release.
Okay, but first of all, what does Nike's brand have to do with the NBA's brand? It's two separate brands. And I'm just throwing it out there. The only reason Monica McNutt is defending him to this is because of his skin color. If this was a white player, I'm guaranteed she wouldn't be defending him because this is where her argument's about to come up. wrong.
Yeah, on the website.
Fine.
Because they sold out and the new colorways are coming. So I don't want to, I'm going to bring it up, but I think a year, we're talking about the situation that happened in Charlotte.
And that's how I know this is really like she's making somewhat of a racial thing out of this, because now she wants to bring up a whole different situation in Charlotte. And yeah, it was a black NBA player for my team, but watch where she's gonna go with this.
Which was a domestic violence issue.
But you're talking about Bridges. Yeah.
You're equating things though.
Okay, domestic violence issue. Are people out in the streets screaming gun control or domestic violence control? I'm confused. Monica McNutt. I'm confused. See, this is her like making it where, oh, we're just trying to punish the black guy thing. Because she brings up a whole different situation. Domestic, okay, first of all, there's no actual video evidence that he beat his girl. We have actual video evidence, not once, but twice. And not to mention, there is a situation out there where Ja Rule Morant allegedly pulled a gun on a 17-year-old. So not only he's supposed to be playing with not only is he playing with guns like Legos, he allegedly pulled a gun on somebody that was underage. I don't recall old boy pulling a gun on his girlfriend. Domestic disputes, yeah, we always try to make it one-sided. We don't know if she assaulted him first. And this idea that a woman could just assault a man and get away with it, it's bogus. It's bullshit. We don't know she punched him, hit him first. We don't know. And there's no video footage. It's he say, she say. We have actual evidence. And guess what? They have actual more evidence that they're going to release. Like, this is comparing apples to oranges. And all due respect, oh boy, I don't know how many games he was suspended for, but he didn't play the whole season. He was out the whole season.
That this is apples and oranges. You're right. But this is also something that for a brand and for a player who has emerged very high as a big face of this brand, if you're this league, this is that message you need to send immediately.
And how much is this behind
We've
this
already
message
talked.
that we already talked?
That's
and
to me what it's about.
Face to face, and then you told on yourself a second time. D Wood, your thoughts on this as an athlete?
See, Monica, I'm sorry. She's gonna defend it to the minimal any way she can. Because I'm sorry, she just feel like this is just the NBA punishing a black man. But and then somebody brought up, well, Gilbert Arenas, but guess what? Gilbert Arenas got 20-something games for the first incident, and he didn't do it again. He didn't do it again 2 months later. And I'm going to throw it out there. There hasn't been no white NBA player to flash guns on social media or bring a gun in the locker room, from my understanding, or a European white player, or even a Hispanic player, or any other race or cultural player. It's only been Gilbert Arenas and the other guy that was with Gilbert Arenas. I can't remember his name. He's actually locked up in prison now, or did get locked up in prison. I mean, damn, Aaron Hernandez was gang affiliated with a Blood. I mean, I don't recall him bringing guns into the locker room or guns on social media. He just got involved with a murder, and that's the thing. Like, he's playing with it like it's a toy. That's what nobody gets, man.
When you see something like this play out and you hear the commissioner say that.
So as an athlete, I always look at, okay, how does it lay out as far as collective bargaining?
I like that.
That's where I
like
always
the
go.
CBA though is involved.
Right. But here's the
I like how he came across this. I really appreciate this. 1,000%.
thing about that. The fact that Adam Silver brought in
Yes.
the union into
Very
this,
telling.
that tells me that this is going to be big. It's going to be big because you got to have buy-in from the union because, again, as a player, I'm always going, what's the precedent? What does the CBA lay out as far as punishment? We already saw the 8-game. There's usually layers as far as punishment is concerned. But again, the fact that Adam Silver brought in the union into this leads me to believe that this is going to be a significant punishment.
Wendy, let's get your final thoughts on this and what you just heard here at the table, specifically from 1 year to Monica saying potentially 20 to 30 games in her mind.
Well, the commissioner has wide latitude to do just about anything he wants here under the CBA. The other thing I'd say is I don't think just banishing him is maybe the best move here. It's possible that the league could consider some sort of staggered situation where they would try to make sure he was still within the construct and that he met certain benchmarks. Maybe the suspension could have some variable into it because sending him away, I'm not sure is the best idea here. So this is a delicate situation, and obviously they want to have John Morant around this league for a decade plus.
I will say, I don't even think, if the commissioner were to do 20 games,
yeah,
I think he would announce that.
I agree.
And that's the big thing. If it was only going to be 20 games, I agree. He probably would announce that. This is the thing. If it does happen to be a year, they're going to make a racial issue out of it. I guarantee the race hustlers of the world are going to make a racial issue out of it. I think Monica McNutt really is trying to make a racial issue out of it. This is the thing. You literally, when you sit down with the commissioner and you get your suspension and you yo, I'm going to be better. I need help. He basically lied to the commissioner's face. I can't be the guy that's responsible for sending down punishments and you lie to my face. I give you a punishment and then you do it right away again. I'm sorry. Your second punishment is going to be severe because I take honesty. Honesty is like the highest thing on my list. Honesty is the highest thing in my list. John Morant is a very dishonest human being, as far as I'm concerned. He's a very dishonest human being. I wouldn't believe a word that comes out of his mouth at this point. I know people he's young, all this money, this fame. I gotta question his father. I gotta question his parents. I really gotta question his father. What kind of father were you? That, I mean, nobody else is really doing this in the league. And John Morant's not no gangster. He's not no thug. He's not no tough guy. He's a wannabe. 1,000%. He's a wannabe. 1,000%. All this talk about we want that smoke. You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke. Not at all. Not at all. John Morant is fraudulent as fuck. He's a fake rapper. And that's the thing. That's what he wants to be, is a fake rapper right now. He wants to be a fraudulent fake rapper, it seems like, instead of being a NBA player, And yeah, shoes sold out. But, Nike, that's the thing. Nike isn't so much conscious about their brand as the NBA is. Nike doesn't got families driving hours across state to come watch a Memphis Grizzlies game. Nike doesn't got people driving out of state, from Virginia to Memphis to go watch a Memphis Grizzlies state, or North Carolina to Memphis, or Georgia to Memphis. Like states, literally people driving across the state border to go watch Memphis Grizzlies games with their family. So and not everybody wants their kids looking up to an NBA player who's playing with guns like toys. To me, that's the biggest issue here. And if you reward him, he's never going to learn his lesson. And if you just give him he got 18, so if you only give him 20, that's only pretty much 2 times what he got from the first time. So that's what we're gonna do every time. We're just gonna double it every time he does it. When does it stop? Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if another incident comes up soon. People don't change overnight. I didn't. I evolved. I'm not the same person I was before I got into promoting music. I am more of an asshole nowadays. When you're a self-employed business owner, you understand that nice guys do finish last in the business world. They do finish last. I think if it was going to be just 20 games, they would have announced it. I think it's going to be a lot more severe. If it's a whole season, I wouldn't be shocked, because this is the problem that Monica McNutt is going off of. She's just going off of the evidence we know, we've seen. They just said they got more evidence. She's not taking that into account, which lets me know that, it's all about, color at this point. It's all about a race thing. And I understand Brian Windhorst said, probably just don't get rid of him. But you know what? The NBA will be just fine without Ja Morant for a year. You know why? Because they were just fine when he got bounced out the first round of the playoffs by the Lakers, a 7th seed. They were just fine. And Memphis Grizzlies is overrated because young teams don't win shit. They still got a long ways to go before they win in anything. But I think, to be honest with you, if they got a whole year, I wouldn't be shocked, and I wouldn't think that was harsh. Old boy from Charlotte, Miles Bridges, he only got suspended maybe 40 games, but he was out the whole season. I'm pretty sure he didn't get paid for those games he didn't play. And Ja Morant is still going to make money off of his shoe deal. Bridges ain't got to shoot. This idea that he's really going to be hurting just for losing 1 year of NBA money when he still has this big old contract out there. And if he comes back and makes all NBA, he's just going to get another big contract. And all due respect to Ja Morant, he should have been all NBA this year. Ja Morant should have been all NBA this year. So I'm not going to totally bash Ja Morant. He should have been all NBA this year, at least second or third team all NBA. People did take into account. See, this is what pisses me off. You brought race into the MVP vote. You did. When Kendrick Perkins brought race into it on live television, you brought race into the MVP vote, and you voted against Jokic because he was white. And people didn't want to be labeled racist because they voted for Jokic when he was clearly I don't care what anybody says. Jokic was the MVP this year. He deserved it, and he should have, and Embiid did not earn it. And nor did he deserve it. I don't care what anybody says. Joel Embiid did not deserve or earn MVP this year. I picked Giannis. Personally. I picked Giannis. So before people try to bring color into this, I picked Giannis. But I was wrong with that. And Joel Embiid definitely didn't deserve it. Because I didn't have Joel Embiid second behind Giannis. I had him third behind Jokic. Jokic should have been MVP again for the third time. You voted against him because you didn't want people to say, oh, the MVP voting is racist, because Kendrick Perkins basically said if they voted for Jokic, the MVP voting is racist. Well, people voted against Ja Morant because of what happened. And I don't see people shouting that was racist, because it wasn't. Because that's part of being all NBA too. Is, are you doing fucked up things off the court? I think, like, if I don't care how good you played, like, say Miles Bridges was balling out like Ja Morant and still had the domestic dispute situation with no actual video evidence, just his word versus hers and her word versus his. Even if you had that go on and he was balling out like Ja Morant, I would like say, nah, he probably shouldn't have been all NBA. But I don't really think they should have took this. I don't know if they should have took this in account, seeing that it wasn't illegal. I don't know. It's hard to argue this one. It's really hard to argue this one, because I still think based on talent, all right, this is how we're going to say this. Based on talent, Ja Morant should have been all NBA. But if we're throwing in things you do off the court, negative things you do off the court, like playing with guns like Legos or domestic dispute cases, if we're putting that account in all NBA vote, then no, he shouldn't. But see, this is the thing. I don't know if that's the parameters of, are we adding that to all NBA votes? Are we looking in and accounting for what you did off court? Like, and I guess you can. When you talk about giving somebody all NBA, giving them a huge contract extension. I guess you can. Because why would we give you even a bigger contract when you're playing with guns like Legos on social media? I guess it is, it's acceptable. There's nothing racist about it. You don't deserve to be all NBA if you're playing with guns like Legos on social media, no matter how much you bought out. We should reward you with a all NBA contract extension, no matter if you're all NBA talent, if you're playing with guns like Legos. And same thing goes for Miles Bridges. If he was balling out the same way as Ja Morant. But see, he literally didn't get to play the whole season. So Monica McNutt's argument about the domestic dispute is not really valid, because he was out the whole season. And second, you're comparing apples to oranges, because there was no evidence or proof. It's he say, she say, and a lot of women lie in those situations. That's the thing. We always believe the women every time there's a domestic situation. Even if the woman like assaults the man and he hits back, oh, it's his fault. We got to lock him up, which is bogus. There's no equality in that. Like, it's funny how these people scream equality, but there's no equality in domestic dispute cases, no equality in child support cases, child custody cases, divorce cases, rape cases. A woman could say she was raped and they locked the man up instantly with zero evidence, zero proof. Woman could say the man beat her, zero evidence, zero proof. Like, people have, like, I'm not saying she did this, but people have put bruises on themselves before. People have banged their heads up against the wall and banged their faces up against the wall and manufactured bruises to have men locked up, to have people locked up. People have I've seen cases where a dude literally stabbed himself to have his ex-wife locked up and get full custody of the kid because she was going to move to another state with the kid. I wouldn't put it past nobody, but like, yeah, man, like Monica McNutt bringing that up really just kind of let you know it's really about race. It's going to be about race if he gets suspended for a whole year. They're going to make it about race. They're going to, they're going to say if this was a white dude doing this, he wouldn't have got this much. Well, if he did it, got 8 days, and then lied to the commissioner and did it again 2 months later. And what's crazy is it looked like Ja Morant's friend was trying to move the phone off of social media because he didn't know that Ja Morant was going to grab the gun and start doing that. It's like Ja Morant did it to himself, at the end of the day. And whatever punishment he gets, I think it's acceptable. It's not harsh. For the simple fact you lied to the commissioner's face and did it again. And for another fact that this is a brand that a lot of kids look up to these guys. And for the third fact, it probably goes against the moral clauses and the code of conduct clause. And for the fourth, you're playing with guns like they're Legos, man. Like they're Transformers on social media, man. Like they're toys, man. This is not the right image and message to allow to be sent. That we can play with guns like toys on social media, man. And, liberals should be going batshit crazy over this for the simple fact that they're the ones going crazy about gun control. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Paul Pickett Podcast, and I'm out.